Today we are meeting the creator of Batman Staying There, the voice of Batman himself, and getting a snippet of episode 6. Let's get into it. Very welcome, Jason, the Legion of Geeks, creator of Batman Staying There. You're here with us today. Can you tell us about the inspiration you had behind creating Batman Staying There?
Okay, so I always wanted to do like some sort of Batman project creatively, just as a fan, and I always wanted to do like a fan film because that's what everybody does, but I realized that doing a fan film kind of wasn't in my budget in like the current, space that I am in life right now. So I thought, how could I do something Batman related in a way that's more realistic? And I noticed they were doing like a Batman audio drama, like DC themselves, Batman and Buried on Spotify. So I was like, oh wow, that's actually an interesting idea. Like when you do it that way, you don't have to worry about the visuals and all the stuff that's pricey. It's just really the voice talent. So I kind of just wanted to do that and just create a story that's a Batman story that doesn't retread stuff that we've like seen before. Like retreading stuff that we've seen before isn't the main draw of it. It's instead something new, a new idea and a new perspective on a character. That's really what it brings to the table.
Do you have any like particular favorite part of Batman Staying There? Like a favorite like part of an episode or something you just felt like this is the shit,
Yeah, I really liked all the stuff with like Batman and Montoya. That was kind of the thing for me that stuck out the most because originally the Montoya stuff wasn't that much of a focus. But when I was writing it and I heard the actress, her name is Subi, I heard her do the Montoya lines. I was like, wow, this is so good. I love the way she does it. And I also love the way Mason did Batman. And then we had an episode, like episode 3, they had a little confrontation. And I remember listening to it and be like, damn, I really like this. So then when I was writing episode 4, I was like, I need to put in like another part of this, but like upped up more. And then in episode 6, there's a resolution to their little banter as well that I really like too.
How do you see your podcast evolving in the future? Do you see more of these projects coming up in the future?
I don't know if I really want to do like much more Batman stuff after this. I've had a couple of people just ask me like, oh, do you plan to do like a season 2 or something? I don't really see that happening. I want to do like whatever I do next, I want it to be something that's an original IP, whether it's mine or like someone else's that I'm working on. So no, not really. I do think that there's a lot of like cool things in the story itself that allows you to draw your own conclusions as to what might happen next or what has happened in the world or before or currently somewhere else. So I think there's enough there for like, if you enjoy it, to just like pretend and choose your own adventure kind of thing. There is a little like thing I am doing on Valentine's Day. I'm going to like drop a short little segment for a Valentine's Day kind of special episode, but it's really like 5 minutes long, and it's just some added lore for like something that happens in episode 6. But that's literally it.
The plans will come if you feel like they come to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not the type of guy who's gonna like force myself to do something. I think that what I wanted to do creatively is done by episode 6, and the rest of the other stuff is just. It was just fun to do, but not the point I was trying to get across.
You've been facing a lot of challenges with this project. I know, for example, that it was possible to donate to the cause of creating Batman Staying There, and I think you bought microphones to a couple of on the team. Am I correct?
Yeah, we bought a couple of microphones. It wasn't anything too pricey. For example, the actor for Jim Gordon needed some, and we provided that best we could. A lot of the funds have also gone towards a lot of the sound effects that we use, and they've also gone towards a lot of the promotion as well.
Okay. But do you think the budget have been the biggest difficulty during this project, or what have been the biggest obstacle or challenge?
The budget, there were 2 big challenges. The budget was definitely one. I think that if I had had more to work with, I think a lot of the issues would have been better dealt with. I think what we got is, like my editor Kevin says, like everything is done enough, not done completely. So I think it's been done enough to the point where it's what I wanted it to be. But yeah, I think, money is always an issue, especially when you're trying to make something out of passion. So it definitely was an issue, but also another issue was just working with talent across the world. It's very easy to make not very easy, but it's easier to make a project when you have everybody in the same space. It's easier to just get chemistry and like just better collaboration, and everything sounds smoother. So that was definitely a challenge, but thankfully I think that my team was great and we did the best that we could with what we had. And yeah, I think it shows in the project.
Yeah, and that's also like coming into my final question for you, and that's kind of like, how hard was it to bring this team together? Like, you've been a leader for this project, you've been writing it, you've been kind of directing it, and you've been putting it together in a way. So how hard was it for you to bring all these people together? Was it hard, or was it, everyone's like, fuck it, I'll do it,
It's kind of 50-50 because it is hard, especially when you have to. Thankfully, my editor Kevin helped with a lot of it, so it wasn't the workload that it would have been by myself originally. Um, it was difficult though because there's so many moving pieces, and you have to, get it all done as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible. Thankfully, though, um, the majority, no, everybody that I worked with, which is cool. You know what I mean? Like everybody did their lines on time. If they couldn't do them on time, they were open with me. We figured it out. Everybody did their redos on time, and everybody here strictly worked out of passion as well. So it was really incredible to just see people uh, give their all, and make it as simple as possible for something that we all worked on together, and they were doing for no payment at all. It was just strictly out of like, like I really want to see this get done and I want to help you do it. And, it means a lot to me.
Understandable. So if we would ever see another podcast project, would we see the same team?
Yeah, man, I don't see anybody here that I wouldn't want to work with. They're all incredible, and hopefully they want to work with me too. But yeah, it was great, and I got to see a lot of them all see in themselves what I saw in them at first too, and really just step into the characters, and over time just perfect their craft. And Kevin as well is an amazing person, and I'm sure he has a lot of projects he wants to get to, and I hope he brings me on to them because I would love to be a part of them as well. And just yeah, everybody here is like, I was really blessed to have them, and there were a lot of times where I was just like, wow, like I'm just very fortunate to have you here, and just it means the world to me.
Yeah, you've also bring a little snippet to us today.
Yeah. I have a little piece of episode 5. It's a really rough cut, so it's not like the finished product or whatever, but there is a little piece of episode 5 that I want to show.
I won't be lectured by a psychopath like you.
It takes one to know one.
Your killing spree ends tonight.
Oh, this is far from over. I'm sure you're familiar with the pig at this point. Oh, don't worry, he isn't dead. Just had to slip him a little something to shut his mouth for a bit. He's a talker.
It seems you two have that in common.
Always ready to throw in a snarky little comment. I think that's why the Joker took such a liking to you. I'll be after him next.
Your first try wasn't enough when you killed Gordon.
I never meant for that to happen.
Let's move on from Jason to Mason and ask him some questions. This is the man himself, the Batman.
Yeah.
Even got the jacket on.
Yes, I do. I got my Petco shirt underneath because I got work after this, but I wanted to rep the character.
Yeah,
so.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Can you tell us your experience with playing this iconic character?
Yeah, well, Jason put out just on a story, just like a casting call or like an audition sort of call for this project that he was working on. And, I had seen it, and, I was really sort of second guessing myself, and I was like, do I want to do this? should I do it? Can I do it? Most importantly, and I think I initially went into it just thinking that I would try to be like Commissioner Gordon, or maybe like one of the thugs that Batman interrogates or something. Oh, it's the freaking bat or whatever. But he initially casted me as the narrator. He just liked my voice. I was like, that's awesome. And I forgot who was initially cast as Batman, but things sort of fell through, and I kind of got bumped up a slot, and he saw something in me as Batman, and that this has been probably the biggest highlight of my career. It's the only credit on my IMDb page, and I can die happy. I mean, he's my favorite character. He's my favorite thing in the entire world. And so just, getting to be a part of anything with him has just been a dream come true. So I'm really, really, really proud of being part of this.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm so happy to just have Mason and to have him be my Batman. I'm telling you, like, when I heard his voice as the narrator, I really saw just that Batman in there. I really heard it, and I was like, there's something we can work with here, and I really think that Mason's Batman voice is awesome. So.
What was most important to you when bringing this character, like this voice, to life?
Yeah. No. Really, it was just trying. It was two things. It was trying to make it sound consistent, because we recorded these episodes a few months back, but this was my first time ever doing voice acting. So I kind of had to like sort of learn how to like play with the inflection and like the enunciation, or the articulation rather, a little bit more. But the biggest thing for me was trying to keep it consistent from one episode to another, and really just trying to do the best job that I can, because I'm, again, a huge Batman fan, and if I were listening to this, if it were someone else, I would want them to sound the way that Batman sounds in a comic book that I read. So it was really just trying to get into that headspace and trying to deliver on that.
A question for you both: how does these sessions look? Do you sit in a call together, or do you send them over like separately?
Essentially, I wrote all the scripts first. First thing I did was I wrote all the scripts. We all have like a little Instagram group chat, and then I wrote all of the scripts, and I would just like send updates in the group chat, like, hey, this is what's happening now. Please don't run away from me. This is what I'm doing now. And then eventually, I would just message each person individually, and I'd be like, hey, this script is up. Can you please do your lines? They would do their lines. If there was any issues, I would be like, what about doing this on this one? Or could you redo this one? And then once we got to a point where we were both satisfied with it, I would be like, okay, let's work with this. I'll send it to the editor. And there were many times where I was satisfied with it, and then like an actor would come and be like, no, let me do it like again. And I'm like, yo, we gotta let it go, man. We gotta let it go. So
yeah, I'm guilty of that.
Has it been tough on you, Mason?
I wouldn't say tough. I mean, it's been a very, very new experience. It's a very, very different kind of acting than the kind that I've been doing for a while. I'm always, there's always one or two lines in an episode where I'm just like, man, I wish I could have done better on that take. So I mean, I don't. I get in my own head a lot. I like to. I don't know. We all tend to be a little hard on ourselves from time to time. So.
Yeah. And how have your experience been with working with this creative team? Have you mostly just been speaking to Mason, or have you all of the actors spoke to each other about this, and like have you discussed and?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So I've mainly only been talking to Jason. I think I follow a couple of the other actors on Instagram. So in a way we're supporting each other's work. But mainly, yeah, it's just been me and Jason.
I talk to everybody. Obviously, I know some of them do talk to each other from what I understand. Which I have no problems with. It's obviously awesome. They're all working on it together. And I know there were some times when like some of them would like rehearse lines on Discord call if they had scenes together. We didn't use those takes because Discord kind of like the quality is odd. But so yeah, I think that there has been some communication and collaboration, but for the most part, it's like that's what I was saying. Is like it's a miracle that the chemistry comes out on some of the takes, because they're not really acting with each other at all. So
Yeah, I really wondered about this because I love to think about the technical parts and just to bring this together, because I thought that, as you just said, that you did everyone separately, but it really felt like they were speaking to each other. Yeah, just fantastic how it went so smoothly.
yeah, I think that's in large part due to like the talent of the people involved and just being able to understand, the lines and the context, and just being able to keep the same energy throughout the lines kind of makes it flow together.
And Jason, what do you think is next? Like, if it's not a podcast, what would you like to do, even if it doesn't happen? What speaks to you right now?
Um, I I love to act, I love to write. I definitely have thought about writing a bunch of scripts, getting them sent in and maybe sold. There's some context for that. I also, I'm also thinking maybe a different podcast series, just kind of build something on there. Um, but also, acting. I've been trying to keep up with acting. I have an audition I'm supposed to get to by the 31st. I don't know if I'm actually going to do it because, like I just like some of the actors, I myself like doubt myself, and I'm like, can I do this? But I know that I have to start getting the ball rolling, and definitely like assuming I have 50 years plus left in my life, there will be some creative projects more down the line. So yeah.
And from what I heard, or what it sounded like on Jason earlier, it seems like Mason also has some projects going on.
Not a goddamn thing. No, actually, no, I'm just in school right now. I should be auditioning for a couple more student films in March. But in between now and then, I'm going to be getting some headshots or some new ones retaken on Tuesday. And I'm probably going to be sending those out for a couple of auditions in between now and then. So I'm just, kind of getting my foot in the door, really.
And for everyone out there, when will the next episode of Batman Staying There come out, and when will the episode after that come out?
In episode 6, I don't know. I know this isn't professional to say, but like in terms of like dates that I've been workshopping, I would like to do the 28th because that's my birthday. So I think that's pretty cool, like to just end it off that way. But it'll maybe be March. We'll see.
Okay. And on which platforms can you listen to this fantastic podcast?
You can listen to Staying There on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. And I think there's a bunch of other like podcast platforms out there that as long as you have the RS feed, you can like plug it in on there too. So it's not a big deal.